Welcome to another episode of Deeper Than Code. Today we're talking about one of the most underrated tech fields that can transform your career and income, quality assurance, QA. Our guest, Jennifer Gaddis, is the founder of Road to QA, a platform that has helped countless people pivot into high-paying tech roles. Jennifer is not only a powerhouse in the QA space, but has made upwards of $400K per year working remotely in tech. Her journey from breaking into tech with no experience to living abroad while building Road to QA is inspiring and packed with valuable insights. In this episode, we'll break down how Jennifer transitioned into tech and built a high-income career, the origins and mission of Road to QA, and where QA is headed in the next 5 years, her long-term vision, and additional opportunities in tech.
Check me. It's deeper than cold. Yeah.
All right, so awesome. Well, thank you for being here today. Been trying to get this together for a minute, so I'm glad we were able to make it happen. Really, the first thing I want to do is just for people that aren't familiar with you, I would just love for you to tell your story, what got you into QA, what got you into tech. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Yes, it has been a bit trying to get me here. Life's been life in. So even though I have a company, I have my skill, life still happens. So thank you for having me. Ultimately, I came into QA by accident, being online, seeing someone speak about it. And from there, I was shown that this could be an opportunity for me. Actually, my background comes from mostly customer service, technical support. Went to college, tried it a few times, almost probably have enough credits to graduate, but didn't finish. And I'm sorry, Grandma, because my grandma does have her PhD and everything. But, I had to, said, I might have to go another way. But ultimately just working paycheck to paycheck. And I decided I really needed to find a career that I could keep growing in. I found that technical support, customer service, I kind of felt like I was capping at 40 and 50K. So I was doing technical support, customer support. I actually end up even doing jobs like being a Facebook ads manager. I've been a virtual assistant. I've done digital marketing. So I've done quite a few things, but a lot of the times the income was stopping me at 50K. Or I have to do Facebook ads management for performance-based marketing to get to 80K or so. And so I saw someone online who's talking about being a quality assurance tester. And my brother, who actually was at the time going into software development, he was like, okay, well, you're already technical support. Ask them if they, are working with Agile, scrum and all of this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he started throwing the terminology at me. And I end up asking my peers at work about it. And it was like, oh, yeah, that's what we do behind the scenes in QA. Okay, so what is this QA thing? So, I found out about QA from this gentleman named Greg Plasher, who had a program, jumped into his program. He had an ebook and master classes. But for me at the time, the classes was too long. So I kind of took the ebook and I just started studying, looking at some things. And from there, I also met someone who did interview prep. And from there, it kind of took off. So I was in a time where I was, me and my husband actually got sick with COVID. My house went down and I was like, okay, we both making 40, 50K. This is not working. We can't really save. When we stop, the money stops. So what else can we do? We need to, make more money. And from that, when we got sick with COVID, that was the time where I said, okay, I really have to say yes. I said yes, was able to get my resume done, get into the market, and literally, now this was COVID time, not 2025, but 2022, 2021. And I was able to get into the market within 7 days. I had a job interview request. Never had a QA job in my life. And within 7 days of that, I had my first 80K role.
Nice.
And that's where the journey began.
Nice. That's awesome. That's incredible. And yeah, around that COVID time, obviously the job market, especially for the tech industry, was definitely different at that time. But there's definitely obviously opportunities now. And I would say around that time, me as a software engineer, I can tell you that the heyday of when you could just breathe and get a software engineering job, 2017, 2018, 2019 was kind of at its peak around that time. And what we're seeing now is that QA is and prompt engineering are probably the best routes to break into tech. It's you've seen a lot of people flooding your your feed and stuff like that and looking for opportunities now.
Yes, yes, we do. Well, I will say that what I am seeing is like as far as being entry level,
Mhm.
I'm seeing that now you definitely need to come with a little bit more skill.
Mhm.
So whereas in QA, we were, a lot of people was talking manual QA,
Mhm.
but now you really need to pack on more skills, especially for those if you want to stay remote.
Mhm.
Those remote opportunities, like those more, I don't want to say entry level. I think it's kind of hard at times to say like manual QAs are just entry level, but because every job, they need testing at different forms or stages,
Mhm.
or they may have a different budget. So
Mhm.
one company may say we're just going to have a AI. I'm sorry, not AI, but a automation engineer.
Mhm.
Another company may have a team of manual QAs and then one automation engineer. Or so it depends on their budget, the complexity of the software, or their test strategy. All of those things play a part of going into testing. But I do find that today, for more remote opportunities, you definitely need to pack on more skills.
Mhm.
So.
And what are those kind of skills that you're kind of seeing?
So as much as, people may not want to, I definitely feel that you need to have the understanding of basic AI and machine learning.
Mhm.
I think we need to also be a part of security, going into like cyber testing. So like even like more security testing, API performance testing. I think you also need to be a part of like the DevOps, CI/CD, cloud
Mhm.
environments, because as QAs, we're also becoming a part of the shift left, shift right. So we're becoming a part of testing sooner and post production.
Mhm.
So, and then of course, automation skills. I do feel that even if you're doing like low code, no code, you're like being a part of all of those different types of softwares. So definitely having a programming language under your belt. If you're a newbie, probably going Python,
Mhm.
but still being exposed to the different routes of testing. Because again, based upon the company, they could go like more of the low code route with a different tool,
Mhm.
or they could want you to code from scratch and still have that ability to scale testing in a different way.
Mhm. And that's interesting because like that is a thing that I'm seeing as well. And a lot of because with the changes that have gone on recently, like we're in like a transitional period in tech in general, right?
Right.
We're both in the industry, so we can kind of talk more about it. Sometimes, people that might be on the sales or business side maybe don't get it fully. But like when you're on the technical side, it's like, okay, we're seeing it. And I've noticed that a lot of companies are, at least what I've seen, and tell me if you've seen the same thing. I've seen a lot of people wanting more people on the, like, for example, DevOps,
Mm-hmm.
automation,
Mm-hmm.
people that are testing, etc., and then shrinking the team size that actually writes the code, right? And focus more on those things because in this new kind of economy, the way that it runs, like just like there was a big change in like 2014, 2015,
Right.
way back in the day. And everybody was like, it's the end of blah, blah, blah. It's always the end of whatever every single time, right? But I see them shrinking the size of the team that actually writes the code, right? And like making that more senior people that have some experience writing code, et cetera. So it's really like, one of the more difficult times to break in just as like a plain old, run of the mill software engineer, right? Like you have to kind of like have a lane. But guess what I'm trying to say is I think that a lot of those generalists, even computer science graduates, software engineer types, or whatever that might have been in their year one or year two, that picking up a skill like something like QA, et cetera, on top of their coding skill is going to be a good way for them to like advance their career and, get out of the bottleneck they might feel that they're in. Did like do that? Have you seen more people that like have already been in the industry and want to stay in tech, but want to kind of pivot over to QA?
Absolutely. Because you have companies that out now like where you can use tools for, AI driven testing, and AI is doing, a lot of the work, right? We
Mm-hmm.
still need that human oversight and element and validation, to it. So, you add in that skill set adds value.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times, like, I personally don't feel, again, I can't never tell you exactly what's happening, but I personally don't feel that QA testing is going away. I feel like it's evolving. I feel like it's
Exactly.
transforming. I feel like the way that we test and the skill sets that we need is going to be something that we focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I have I have students who they landed their first QA role, but maybe their first QA role was more front-end testing, more manual testing.
Mm-hmm.
But now the company is actually pivoting to more API testing.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have to add that skill set under their belt. So yes, I am seeing people who've been a part of the industry and maybe in that company, that's all they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're in that company, that's all they've been doing. If, God forbid, if they got laid off or anything else, testing is improving. Testing is transforming. So now they have to add a new skill set under their belt if they want to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And what I've always noticed, and this is like going back a while, like when there was like this is, slightly different, but when there was all the changes that were happening when people were moving to single page applications and all stuff like that back in the day, like you had to change like how you were as like an engineer, right? And like today, I see a lot of it, a lot of changes you have to do to, adapt to AI. But the more you know about what actually happens under the hood, the better you are. Like, for example, if you're testing something, right? There still is stuff that you need to make sure happens with your, depending on whatever it is that you're looking at. Like you need to understand what's supposed to happen at this stage, like what this test case is, what that one is, like you still need
to be the SME of the software,
exactly.
The subject matter expert.
Exactly. You need to know what's going on. And what I see sometimes I've seen happening is people are trying to figure out how to learn how to automate stuff. They don't even know what they're automating. It's like how are you going to automate the thing? You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's like, what are you checking for? Like,
absolutely.
You didn't know how to do it yourself. And then like, it's like if I don't know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, how am I going to automate making peanut butter? I don't know what goes in it.
Exactly.
So you have to know that piece and then learn how to automate it. And I think that's the right way to learn things. And the people that actually understand that, they'll be more indispensable to like the companies they work at, because you don't even know if something's going wrong if you just push a button and just wait for the AI to tell you what happens. It's like there's people that I know that don't know how to write, right? And they've gotten into like creating content, right?
Right.
But if ChatGPT doesn't work, then they can't actually make anything.
Exactly. I think a great example would be you get on a job, you have an automation team, you're like on the manual team, or all of us are supposed to be subject matter experts of what happens. But I've personally been a senior, in my position, been a senior QA, and I collaborate with the automation engineer. The automation engineer, he may have that skill set, but maybe he wasn't in all of the meetings that we was a part of. So I know exactly what's going on with the software. And I think a lot of times people still try to jump and they'll say, I'm just going to go get the certificate. I'm just going to go get this skill. But then they don't understand the core foundations of how the software works. And a lot of my students land job roles because they also have domain knowledge. So let's just say you're part of the insurance industry, right? So I literally just had a student. Her name is Alexis, and she landed a role for about $100K or so. She just started, so I want to shine a light on her. But she came into the internship, and literally a week after the internship, she did an interview inside of the internship, and a week after she got her first offer, and she starts actually Monday.
Nice.
So congratulations, Alexis. But she, coming from the insurance industry, for example, she has that domain knowledge. So when they reached out to her, because she already has domain knowledge, she's easier to train. She's already like a subject matter expert. Now she just has to be a subject matter expert with their software. So it's like, for me, I don't have that background. So even though I know how to test, I have testing skills, that's still a lot more of me understanding the different compliances on insurance, the vocabulary. They got to retrain me all the way. So she was valuable already because she has foundational, she has domain knowledge, and now she has the actual skill set of testing. And now add that together, that allowed her to actually get her yes over hundreds of people that probably have experience already in testing.
That's crazy. And every once in a while I bring up some crazy spiritual topic or something like that, but actually, they're not crazy though, but it's like that saying, like, where you don't want to build your house on the sand, right? Like you want to build it on like, rock, build it on a strong foundation. And when people are looking to hire somebody and I've been a hiring manager, et cetera, like I'm just hiring people recently, and it's easier to put new knowledge on somebody that already has the core knowledge already. So if you have that domain knowledge and you can throw extra skills and extra information on top of it, it's
like a cheat code.
better.
Like a cheat
exactly. Exactly. Cool. Well, here's a question. So a lot of our listeners, right, are people that want to live abroad and work remotely, et cetera. And you've had the opportunity to do that. And just curious, what was your experience like with that? And how did you like make it work?
Oh, wow. First of all, I'm a person where I come from a family that I haven't really seen any of my family do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like my family travel because of not really work, but more so sports. A lot of my family are in basketball, so they've traveled and things of that nature. So for me to be able to take my family and just say, we're just going to up and move, was definitely different. So my husband always wanted to travel. And unfortunately, my husband, like, you know, many of us, unfortunately, we maybe have lost people during COVID times and things of that nature. And around that time, I said, you know what? With so much is going on, we're making more money. Why not just do it? So we decided to go visit Cabo, San Lucas, and literally the weekend we visited, I'd never been before prior to that. We end up signing a lease to an apartment. And we had 2 months to leave. And I came back home to the U.S., to Georgia, and told my family, I'm leaving in 2 months. I don't think I still believed it at the time. I think it was one of those where I was making money and it's like, okay, how much more money can I make? You know, I'm making money. I can buy a new car. I can buy outfits. I can go shopping at the mall, but I want to do something different, right? I've been in this space of paycheck to paycheck and debt, and what else can I do? So this was our way of doing something different. So we in 2 months, we packed all our stuff. We gave away stuff, really didn't sell anything. We gave away stuff and we got on that plane and we end up in Cabo in 2 months, living in Mexico for about 3 years with me, my husband, and my 13-year-old daughter at the time. And yes, she did go to school in Mexico for a year. Then I homeschooled her. But how was that experience? It was life-changing. I would say, honestly, when I'm in the U.S., I'm like, my anxiety is up here. When I'm in Cabo, it's like, whoo. So, and I did that, I don't know, about what age? I don't know, 36. So, I mean, that was about 3 years ago. So I don't want to tell my age, but I just turned 40. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Pisces season. But that was great because I was able to do that before 40 on, I don't want to say my own dime, but on my own dime, right? No one else paid for that. It was me and my husband with our careers. Even though I was growing my company, it was with my careers because of the jobs that I had at the time. So to answer your question, it was life changing. I can't wait to go back. I am here because life called me back here. Life still happens. I still have family and I have to prioritize that. So I'm back here because of that, but it opened me up to something that now I know how it feels. I know how it smells. I know. So now I can't wait to get back to that. And if I never said yes to myself in tech, then I wouldn't even have had that experience.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And while you were there, that was kind of like the core time where you really started working on Road to QA, right?
Oh my goodness. The business grew tremendously. Now I will say it probably was, a nice amount of mezcal that helped me, some Instagram, IG. So if you follow me, I'm sure a lot of you have, you watch my stories and I had a ball. Few massages a week, they definitely did it, but most importantly, what happened was the time that I was there within 3 years, I averaged 4 to 5 students landing jobs every month for almost 3 years. So, because I just got back here in the U.S., but during that time for those 2 years, it was the students landing jobs. And that's what really grew the company, is being able to share that. And honestly, I don't even feel like we share enough testimonials, just because my students also, a lot of my students that come to me, I don't want to say they don't believe, but we don't really realize it is possible. So when you get your first yes, you're like, okay, let me just work. And I don't want everybody knowing my business. That's how, so I don't really want everybody knowing. So, a lot of testimonies I don't actually put out there because people are still they're still trying to accept that their life changed. Picture going from 40 to 80K. Picture going from, being a plumber to working remote. Like it's happened so many times, or being a stay-at-home mom to now being able to contribute to your household. So that's changed lives in ways where people are still grasping the life change that happened to them, where they kind of like trying to be in secret. So it's like, I also like to protect that too. So I feel like a lot of times we at Road to QA, we haven't really shown the depth of how we've changed lives through our testimonies, because I also protect my students and their privacy.
Mm-hmm. That's nice of you. Because I probably wouldn't do that. Like, nope. You signed the paper right there that said that.
Right.
You gotta be on social.
Right. We working on more. I mean, I do have quite a bit of text, but I would like to have more videos of our students. So you can, if you go on our page, you can definitely see quite a 100 and something. Yes, definitely. But I would like to have more videos of our students.
No, that's cool. So what makes Road to QA different than other programs that you see?
Oh, wow. What makes Road to QA different? Well, first of all, Road to QA, I don't want to say it was an accident, but it was a beautiful accident. I don't, and so I grew up, my grandmother, like I said, Miss PhD, she was assistant principal. And I remember I used to go into her office and she'll give me paper and I like write names on there like I'm teaching. And so it's kind of surreal because it's like I became a teacher in a way. And it's so I
not in a way, you became a teacher.
I became a teacher. So it's crazy when I look back at that, and my grandmother's very proud of that and what I've been able to do. I think sometimes I don't realize what I've done just because I just enjoy it. It became a story. It just became a story of me changing my life and saying you can do it too. But how Road to QA is different is the whole point of Road to QA is to be considered a self-paced, community-based program where even when life happens, you still can do it at your own pace of life and keep moving forward, but still have a community so you're not alone. I think a lot of times we think that, when life happens that we have to stop, that we have to just completely pause. And even if you do have to pause, that doesn't mean that you should still surround yourself around a community that supports you to say, let's keep going. So that's what Road to QA is about. And ultimately it's also about you not getting into debt. Like my goal is I want to have a profitable company in anything that I do, right? So I do keep a lean team. However, I want to have a profitable company because I also don't want it to be something that you have to get into debt for. So it has to be a win-win, right? I want to have profitability and love what I do. But at the same time, I don't want you to get into debt and I don't want you to be alone. And that's the core of Road to QA.
That's beautiful. And so when it comes to that whole and this is for more of from a business standpoint and other people that might be wanting to start a business, how do you evaluate that? How do you make sure that you're not undercharging and selling yourself short, but at the same time, creating that impact that you want to make? Because there's a fine line between that, you kind of alluded to, because you could, if you wanted to, charge, 10,000, something like that or whatever. There's plenty of programs that do.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to charge $5, because, then there's no way for the business to sustain itself. So how do you walk that fine line, and how do you have a process for knowing, because there's obviously the inflation, things are going to change, you can't keep the same prices for forever, et cetera. How do you do that?
All right. Well, definitely I had to get a CPA. I had to put my big girl pants on.
That's the answer, right? Exactly.
That's it. I had to get a CPA to tell me where the numbers ain't working, where things doesn't make sense. And also, I think, and I'm going to be honest, I think this is hard for me to say out loud, but I had to learn it, realizing what do I want out of my own life too? Even as a CEO, I still have to pay myself in some capacity. Now, can I, take months where I don't pay myself and I reinvest in? Absolutely, I can do all those things. But where do I want this company to also go? Why am I also doing this? I mean, I love my students, but I also love being able to produce an income, However, CPA, knowing my own personal goals, just, and what I want to contribute, how much time am I going to give to it? My team, how much time does my team invest? My team show up weekly on weekly calls. They're in the community. They do weekly new members calls. We do pop-up calls. Sometimes I have guest calls. Guest calls sometimes could cost me $2,000, $5,000, depending on the type of guest. If they're doing a training or something like that. It's just, so I have to evaluate all of those things. If we have to add something, right? Because we have to keep up with AI and automation and all these things. And we have a core promise of what we teach, but do we have to keep updating at a certain point to make sure that we are, our students can compete into the market? So all of that has to be factored as far as, from the CPA shining the light on it when them numbers come out. And it's like, does it make sense on what we even are doing? And then number two, like, what do I want from it? My team members, making sure that, I pay them, for what they're worth, because my team members aren't just regular. My team they're not just regular employees. They're actually people that have QA jobs. So like my core team have been students first. Then I hired them to coach and road to QA. And
Makes sense.
and then now we're working on bringing partners on to keep adding to road to QA, where maybe I can't, or maybe my skill set hasn't, advanced that, or I don't have that experience. So now we're having, those people come into road to QA. So I have to evaluate all of those numbers and make sure it makes sense.
And you really have to think about it this way too. If you don't do that, you're hurting your community, because then you can't sustain the community.
Absolutely.
Because, so you have to think about that. You also got to think about, like, you're not being a good example to, the people that are watching you if you don't, like, build a profitable business as well. So you have that to look at. So it's all those different things. And sometimes, like, I know this is me being vulnerable myself, and I do this all the time, but I don't think I've ever said this before, is like when I'm working on stuff, right? Like I have like a mental block, me personally, that stops me from wanting to like I never charge anybody like $1 bajillion for anything, right? Because it's like, I'm not like a salesperson. I've never done that. And so like, I always want to help without getting paid sometimes. And I have to like tell myself, Arthur, you've got to charge this person $20,000. You have to. One, because you have a mortgage.
Right.
And two, because like they otherwise they won't respect your time. Right. So you can't just be like, I'm just going to do it and like, we'll figure it out later. Like you have to like have those conversations, and like, it's something that not everybody, some people don't have any problem with that. And those are great people to have around you, because they'll just kick you in the butt like, hey, no, charge them the right amount of money. Right. And like, good to have business partners like that. But that's not like my core thing. Like I just like to think and do stuff or whatever. So I got to push myself to extract value from my skills, right? Sometimes. Besides just go to work. If I just go to work, they just pay me whatever. It's like, yeah, pay me my salary. That's what I'm supposed to get. But it's the outside stuff and speaking and the other stuff. It's like,
It definitely becomes hard because, again, you have more as a CEO. You have more that you have to think about. It's not just you anymore. And I didn't even talk about the systems that we have to run the company on. And like those costs too. I run, 4-week now, it used to be 10-day, 4-week internships. I put so many people on there. I mean, that's already a $5,000 bill, so I have to factor in all of that. Then I have to factor in the time it takes to onboard people. Then my team is dealing with that. So if I have someone that works 40 hours, but then she's taking 10 hours alone just onboarding people, like I have to factor all of these things in. So I have to factor in the value of it. And that's some big girl pants I got to put on. Like that's a different way of thinking. I didn't come into this for all of that. Like, at least I didn't think I did, but now I'm having to be a CEO, which is different than just an employee or a contractor and just getting paid for what I do. Like I'm responsible for people and keeping my team and also maintaining our promise to our community. Absolutely.
And you started it because like the demand just happened, right?
Yeah.
Because you started just like with the masterclass, right? Like you had like the masterclass, the webinar, right?
Yes. In fact, and it's so crazy because one of my students, literally Alexis, she just told me, I just did her testimonial and we're going to put that out soon. But she literally told me that she followed me. She had been following me since my first masterclass. And that ebook was $99 in 2021. It was just an ebook and the masterclass and the videos. And it was like more theory than everything. So, and then I started getting people landing jobs in 2022, and then it kept growing. And then by 2023, I started doing what's considered an internship, where you get more hands-on. I put you in a day in a life. So I take everything that you learn and I put you in a real day in a life. So you can walk the walk, talk the talk, have the actual practical understanding of what it is to be in a life of a day in the life of a software tester.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it began. So basically, it just kept happening. So I did the ebook and masterclass. If people had questions, so I'm like, okay, now I got to do Q&A. Okay, we'll do a monthly Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're onboarding more people. Now they want to know about resumes. Okay, let's do a call about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, people are having questions about that. Tell me about yourself. Okay, let's do that. Okay, well, people want more hands-on here. Let me do an internship. So it's like I started listening to my community. But as I was listening, the value went up.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest thing is when you're doing something that you love, you're not thinking about the money at first. You're not thinking I need to charge more. And as a CEO and with that CPA, she started saying, okay, you're doing all of this, but this isn't making sense. The number is not coming out the right way. So for me, it's like I'm continuing to grow because of the feedback. So I think the biggest thing with my growth was listening to my community.
Beautiful. So let me ask you some future focused questions. Two different routes, right? So I see two different things, right? One thing is there's definitely a lot of people that are interested in that are already in tech, mm-hmm. that might be looking at monetizing their knowledge and turning it into a business, right? Mm-hmm. And you've done that better than most people have. I learn something from you every single time I talk to you, because, I have a list and I got this or that and I talk here or whatever, but I ain't built nothing like Road to QA. So at the end of the day, it's something I like to learn and hear how you've been able to do that, because it's kind of fascinating to me. And then the other piece is when you're doing that though, and what I think is difficult for people is not jumping and doing that full time, but keeping their job, right? And how you do both. And you also even said, I'd never even heard you tell me this before. The first time I heard it was right when y'all are hearing it, is that you homeschooled your daughter still while you were doing all this stuff at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out all that. I'm just trying to figure the whole thing out. Because I wanted to do that. I was like, there's no way I could do this. And you were juggling more stuff than me. So I don't, hats off. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know either. I try to answer it, but.
But let's do one at a time. Okay. I just had a bunch of stuff. But first, if you want to take your knowledge, mm-hmm. right, and turn it into a business where you give your knowledge out, mm-hmm. in a way that's scalable, the way that you did, because you have videos, et cetera. You have everything systematized. And of course you do things live, but a lot of it is asynchronous, and people being able, 1,000 people could look at it at the same time. If you were going to give somebody 3 things, so you got to narrow it down to 3 things, just 3 things that you would tell them, the most important things to get started with doing that. And then I'll ask you the other questions again in a second.
Okay. So can I at least say something before that?
Of course. You say whatever you want to say.
So I want you to understand my background, because everybody doesn't have my background. Everyone comes from, they have their own knowledge somewhere. Mm-hmm. I have a background being in customer support, technical support, but I have been in those roles behind Kartra, I've been behind Facebook ads. I've actually worked as a contractor and a customer technical support representative for ClickFunnels. Mm-hmm. So I've been following the Russell Brunsons and all that for years. Mm-hmm. So I've been behind the scenes, behind all that stuff. And like I said, I've been actually a Facebook ads manager where I manage 6-figure and 7-figure ads. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't getting paid the way I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I do feel like I have more technical and hands-on experience in digital marketing. Mm-hmm. And because I have, and also I've been a virtual assistant for 7-figure brands behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So I've done that. I've driven Uber, I've did Amazon, delivered packages, I've done Lyft. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of things that before you guys have seen me, I've done. but I do have a background in some sort of digital marketing in that space. So I believe that because of my knowledge, all of that came together.
Mm-hmm.
So I was basically able to take who I've been as an employee and as a contractor, and I accidentally found something that I had knowledge in and I packaged it. And that's really what happened. So if I gave you some advice, the first thing is, I don't care what they say, you need an email list. The second thing is consistency. So I laugh and I tell you guys, like if you follow me for those 3 years or so, and you saw me go from Georgia to Mexico for 3 years, I had my mezcal, I was at the beach, I was, doing all the things, but it probably gave me, courage, right? What did I say? Liquid courage, liquid courage. But I committed to doing an Instagram every single day. So if you was to go back, I committed to, I had never been online prior to that. And I like to say this because, us women, a lot of us, we've had maybe thyroid surgery. And I had my thyroid removed. So sometimes when I talk really fast, I stumble on my words. And that actually, it definitely affected my confidence when I speak sometimes. But me going on IG stories, it just, again, probably liquid courage too in Mexico, but it gave me an ability to just show up. So I'm going to say building a list, showing up and being able to take that list and convert it and close the sale. So when I say that now I'm doing all the things, everything from retargeting ads, everything from sending that next email, everything from sending doing an IG post and telling them, speaking against their fears, goals, pains, beliefs, and dreams on why they need this thing. So being able to close. So for me, I'm going to say 3 things: email list, I'm going to say consistency, and I'm going to say close the sale.
Nice. As you say that, here's just a thought, not saying that you should do it, but you heard it here first. You ever thought about making a road to QA, right? And make like a course that tells people that may have like a skill set, a knowledge set, you package it up and tell them, well, this is the things you need to know in order to, I'm just saying, I feel like that would, I feel like that would do well.
Right. So I actually have, a program in my heart, that I want, and I don't want to say the name out loud.
Okay.
So I already have it. I just haven't packaged it because Road to QA is my baby, it's my focus. And because, tech, because we have AI and automation, so prevalent, we want to add to Road to QA. I want to improve it. So I think one of the biggest things, and this actually, I want to just say this just as a digital creator, there's a few things I want to say about that because I hate being called like an influencer and all these things. I don't know what you really call me. I don't want to say it like that, but
entrepreneur.
I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't like to be called an influencer or anything. Like I feel that if you take my process and you don't give up, it will work for you. How have I been able to take 170 people that I never knew and it works for them? You don't give up, and everyone's not going to put in the same amount of effort as the next. Everyone's journey is going to be different, but you can't give up. It's possible. So that's just what I believe, and that's why our process works. But needless to say, yes, there is a idea of a program. I actually already have it mapped out and everything, but Road to QA is my baby. And I think one of the things that I feel that makes me different or that's important about being a digital creator is, again, I don't like to be called an influencer, digital creator, because I really do care about what I do. And there is a point that even as a CEO or even as a business owner, I had to realize where my skill set stops. So when you don't have a certain amount or a certain level of knowledge, I have to bring other people in. And that's how much I care about my community. I now have to be the visionary. So it's a point where, because people ask me, what is Jenny doing next? And I'm still working a job and everything. I did take I'll be honest, a 1-year sabbatical due to life and family. I had to make that choice, but because of my skill set, I was able to do that. Thank God. Because off of $40,000 a year, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Because of me growing a business, I was able to do that. I'll gladly be honest, because I don't feel that we should hide behind what we're growing. But now I have a different track. Now I have to say, I'm not just an employee. I'm now a business owner. And now I have to sit in the visionary seat. And as the visionary, now I have to bring on other people that have other skill sets and more knowledge than me. And then my company has to be priced a certain way. Everything has to run sustained. So I have all these decisions I have to make now. So for me, what makes Road to QA different is that I'm constantly investing in sources outside of me to bring to my community. And I hope I'm answering your question because I know I was saying a lot. I just wanted, I heard a few things. I wanted to cover some stuff because I think a lot of times we're not honest out here.
Mm-hmm.
And running a business is not easy. And going from, packaging yourself and being, told like you're just another influencer, that's packaged yourself. No, but okay, what I do works if you do the work. Right. So we know our process works. We know we do work. But as a business owner, because I care, I have to keep investing in Road to QA, even outside of me, even outside of what I can give you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So what about, so with that said, right, and I kind of want to hit on something that you kind of talked about. I want to get to the other things I was saying too. But if somebody now, let's say they've already now taken that leap now. Let's say somebody did differently in the process. They've already taken the leap. They have, they have experience in the industry, and they, somehow, some way, because there's always a story to like how you end up with people knowing you for doing something, right? Especially in the tech industry, just be like, we just know you because you have this job, and we saw your journey, and then and now they want to take and they already have taken the step to like train people and do different things and help other people. And you see that happen a lot because that's one thing I love about the Black community is a lot of times that there's some people will just get in and kind of just like, don't care. But a lot of times people will like knock down a door and be like, hey, let me like help y'all come too or whatever. And it just happens naturally. Like I was talking to some guy recently and he was like, started helping like 30 or 40 people like do something that he was doing, but he wasn't charging any money. He just wanted to let everybody know about it. And then magically he had like 50,000 followers, and he was like, "Oh, what? Maybe this is getting a little bit out of hand.
Right.
I gotta do something here." So let's say they already are in that. They're already in that space. It's already getting a little bit out of hand.
Okay.
And they want to, for whatever reason, make the transition to treating it like a real business, right? What would be your thoughts there? Just anything that you want to say about just like, let's pretend that person's in the room right now. Okay. What would you tell them to
do? Be honest on where you are, what you can contribute. Going back to me, like I had to be honest with where my skill set was and be honest on where the industry is going and where I needed to be able to continue to give to my community. So if there is a growth in AI and automation, if I don't have a certain level of skill set or knowledge, I need to bring somebody in. So I think being honest on where you're going to serve and where you're going to sit. So like for me, one of my greatest strengths are like soft skills, my, interview prep, confidence, retailing your resume, transferable skills. Confidence, a lot of times people like pulling that out of you to realize who you really are, who you being, and how you contribute to the role that you're actually going after. So I kind of sit in that aspect of the company. Yes, I can still speak to QA and the actual skill set of testing to certain levels, but when we go like to automation and AI, I sit more on the senior side, so more the high level side of it versus the definiteness of maybe automation and AI testing. So what do? We bring someone in with that. Right. So I think being honest with that, always being on top of, what's, new, what's coming out, and where, your students should be focusing on. I think and I don't want to tailor it to QA, so I'll just take a step back and I'll just say, I'll stop there to say, being honest, being honest on what you can contribute to. And if not, finding the people to bring in. And then, again, your numbers, I think is going to go back to your numbers again. Like we do things that we love. But is it worth it? Is it profitable? Is it because there was a point, and I'm going to be very honest, there was a point where I felt like a slave to my business. And how that happened was because I was making 300, 400,000 stacking roles. So if I'm making that and I'm doing this for fun, at some point I am going to look at it and say, is this worth it? Because I can just work my jobs. So I had to also be honest with myself and say, what do I really want to do with this thing? So I really had to look at the inside of my business and the inside of how it ran, and to make sure. And then I had to implement automation, team, and processes inside of my company itself, which I'm constantly still doing. We're updating right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I might answer that. I can go some more, but
no, you answered that. So, because that's really actually profound. Because here's the thing, right? You'll see a lot of people that like are in. I'm not gonna call any people out, but I feel like if I start to say it, then like people will start trying to attach people to it. Whatever. Okay. That's not my problem. Okay. At the end of the day, like people will try to make it seem like they know everything and they know the answer to every question, right. But nobody knows the answer to every single question, right? And I've seen people get into the habit, especially like in software engineering specifically. I'm gonna say that, and they'll act like they'll act like they know the answer to everything that's going to happen in software engineering all the time. They've done every single type of code that's ever existed, but they only took a boot camp 2 years ago, right? And like they're like the most super mega expert that's ever existed. And it's like, okay, dog, you don't know everything, and it's okay that you don't know the answer to everything. I don't know the answer to everything, and I don't know anybody that does, because this information is really like inexhaustible. Like you can always learn something new. And if you have a community that's like following you, you don't want to stifle your community. And I've seen people do this, right? Like I said, I won't say who this person is, but they had a community, and they didn't like a specific type of technology. This technology is, I'm just going to say it's TypeScript, right? They didn't learn TypeScript when TypeScript came out, right?
Hold on now.
And they didn't want to learn TypeScript. So they kept telling their community that TypeScript was like whack and it was trash and it was this.
Learn Playwright is TypeScript. Hold on.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they kept telling everybody, you don't need TypeScript. TypeScript is blah, 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 blah. And now that same person is on social media right now with their big audience talking about nobody wants to give me a job anymore. The market is jacked up. Like, bro, you had like 8 years to learn TypeScript and you kept telling everybody not to do it. And, it's like you don't have to know the answer to everything. And like, or like other times, like, for example, I remember me personally, like, I got started with PHP, right? Like, when I really started like hitting it with PHP. And PHP started to like go down a little bit, right? So I'm like, I'll just learn Node.js, right? And I learned Node.js, and then Node.js really took off and became like a big deal, or whatever the case should be. Then Golang started to do some stuff. Like I learned little Golang, I learned little Rust, like learn the things as they come or whatever. And like now, if somebody wants to talk to me about PHP, like yeah, I know it because I've known it for like 16 years or something like that now, but. I learned the new stuff when it came out, and now I would say I know Node.js actually better than all of them, because then I ended up, that was like in like the peak of my career when I'm working with that so much. But it's like, just, I don't know, just don't become, what is it, intellectual snob or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be willing to adapt.
Yes.
And just what it is. And I'll give credit to my brother. My brother, he talks about like Playwright and TypeScript and all that all the time, and talk about how like Microsoft is like, if you have a lot of companies that use Microsoft and that's easy for them to sync to, what do you think they're going to use?
Microsoft, exactly.
So are they going to use that, or are they going to go to like a Selenium product or whatever else? So you have to, be willing to understand it. But like I tell my students still, you could learn a certain tool, but a company uses something else. So you have to be adaptable. And I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know everything. I'm still like, for me, I've been more of a senior lead where I help infuse, automation with the automation team. So I'm collaborating with them a lot, but I've always had more of automation teams already there. So for me, I was more of the senior, help leading that in the manual team, and also Scrum Master. But my skill set with automation, yes, I have to continue to grow that. And then now you have AI and testing and things of that nature. So you in this industry, you have to be adaptable, and you have to be willing to understand that you will not know everything. That's one of the most important things. And I'll say this, I feel that that's what makes my students also successful when they listen to what I say, is because I tell them that every role will not be for you for your first one.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is every company will not have the same way of testing, the same level of skill sets. One company may need just a manual QA. Another one may need an automation engineer, or whatever. And then they may want you to do front-end testing here or back-end testing and SQL here. Maybe they want you to know some automation. But you can keep skilling yourself up until you get to that level. Find the one that's going to give you your first yes. Now, do I feel that we do need to have more skills today to be competitive? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you shouldn't be going into the market where you don't know anything about automation or API. Like you should have some basic understandings or being familiar knowledge of all of these aspects. You may not be proficient at the actual skill, but you shouldn't be going in an interview saying, I don't know how all of these pieces do not work together.
Mm-hmm.
Work together.
Yeah, whenever people I mentor, I always tell them that they need to be T-shaped, right? Where like you learn a good foundation on a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then either you pick a thing that you want to focus in on and then drive it super, super deep.
Yeah, you can go. Absolutely.
Or you wait for the company that you work with to tell you what that thing is and you drive that super deep.
Right.
Whichever one, like, chicken or the egg, right? You're going to have to go deep in something eventually. Right. So you either pick it because like, hey, like the companies I want to work at, this is what they're doing. So I'm going to drive that super deep. Mm-hmm. But just in case, I want to keep myself my options open to all these things so I could always drive another one.
If there's a layoff or anything, you got to be able to pivot. So if one company is doing C# or you're coming from Python with they're on C#, okay, I'm going to use this, or Python, or Playwright to something like, can you pivot? I think that's, again, what would keep a person, I think that's what would keep a person from getting into tech specifically, is because I think they're going to know everything and you're just not going to know everything. You may not be the ideal candidate for every role. I think you have to be okay with that.
Exactly. And like, speaking about being like the ideal candidate at different roles, here's like a secret that like, people don't normally say out loud, but, I don't believe in secrets. So, like when you go for a role, like you apply for a role, right? A lot of times the hiring manager is never going to see isn't going to be able to see every single, resume or whatever the case may be, right? And so there's different things you have to do to try to like make yourself stand out. But even if you try to, they may not get a chance to see you, right?
Right.
But there's always referrals and things like that actually can get you a look. No matter what, you still have to walk yourself through the door yourself by having the right skills, etc. But it's, if your resume just gets thrown into to the ATS and it maybe gets pulled out, maybe it doesn't, sort of situation, that's kind of is what it is. And they're not going to interview 1,000 people. They're going to interview, I know like we just had a role, that we had 400 candidates for that applied. And we're like, well, we can only do 20 interviews. So, that's all we can pull out of that pile. We're only going to pull 20 out.
Right.
And sometimes there's roles where we still are going to do like 10, 15, 20 interviews and there's like 40 people coming in. So yeah, we'll see every resume then. But the point I'm making is that referrals are like a good way to get your foot into the door. And is there like anything that you don't mind sharing about like how like to navigate that? Like one on the sense of if they do actually look at your resume, that it doesn't look crazy. So it's not like this was a waste of what I looked at and they just moving on. Like they see it, they're going to say, oh, that's a good resume. I might need to look at this person. They seem like they got it together. And secondly, like, how to like get referrals and network and do those things to like get you in front of the right people.
Right. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of my referrals were probably more so directly from me actually already building relationships with recruiters. So like say for instance, if they had a job that, I applied to, but maybe, they didn't feel that I was quite fit at that time, but then something else came in. I kept those relationships, and I think that's the biggest thing.
But don't go past that because that's a big thing right there.
Like we don't. I don't think we just think that they told us no, and that's all we hear. But I've had 2 jobs that I've literally had that came back to me because I went back to them and they had something else that fit me. And I think, again, that goes back to me saying every job won't be for you or your first yes. Be okay with that. You may not be aligned for one job, but that relationship now you still have. That recruiter is still having things come to their desk all the time. And if you stay on the top of their mind, well, before they even get to anything else, they're going to say, oh, I just talked to Jennifer again yesterday and she didn't fit this one, but she spoke very well. She was able to articulate this.
Exactly.
She did this. Oh, she actually has that domain knowledge. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and I'm going to send her this real quick and see if this aligns and then I can get her.
Exactly. Like that is like the biggest thing. And I think I've definitely said this before, but I don't know if I said it on the show, but like when there was a time, I can't remember when it was exactly because I'm bad at remembering dates and stuff. I'm actually horrible at it. But I at one point went on LinkedIn and just started like adding every recruiter and talking to them. Anybody that was a recruiter, they were a recruiter. Right. I added them and became like their friend and like told them like, like just be nice to them,
right.
Be nice to them. And then like randomly, like I'll get messages all the time and like, so, people get messages now and there'd be scams or whatever. But I mean, I get messages from like real people like, hey, Arthur, haven't talked to you a little bit, but how's everything going? How the kids, blah, blah. Hey, this thing just came across. Do you or do you know anybody else who blah, 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 like, and it'll happen all the time because you build that relationship. And you have to think about like when you put yourself in the position of the recruiter, think from the recruiter standpoint, because they have a job too, right? And their job is, I got to find a qualified candidate who's not going to make me look crazy.
Exactly.
And put them in front of these people. And I have to swear by like their ability to be able to, be successful in this role or be successful in this interview process. So if they already know you and know that you're somebody that is going to make them look good, they're going to call you up. Or if they know that you might make them look good, so you might know other people that might. Like that's that strength of that referral. Because people like overcomplicate it, which I'm glad you didn't. And you just like, hey, it's just as simple as, hey, I built a relationship and they said, spoke well. She has the domain knowledge. She has this, she has that. Let me just, like, other people are going to like her too. Let me just throw her over here. Like, you have to get those in. And that's why I think it's big because you said, like, the big thing is soft skills.
Honesty, being honest about my skill set at the
time.
If I wasn't a proficient in automation tool, I didn't say it. I would let them know exactly where I landed. But when another role came up, they're not looking for all of that. They have an automation team over here, but because you have some knowledge, you have enough to answer that, and contribute to that. So she fits this one. So I think honesty was also important too, is I'm not sitting there saying what I really don't know how to do. I'm being very clear and honest that, okay, even if they, I've had recruiters try to push me and say, oh yeah, it looks good. And I'll look at it and I say, no, they want something I don't got. You ain't gonna make a fool of me. And because of that, they was able to say, okay, well, that's fine, but here's something else. But again, it goes back to me being honest, my relationship, my domain knowledge, me speaking well. I think that initial presentation on how you show up is important because you can also ruin a referral.
Exactly.
By being dishonest, not showing up well on a phone call and things of that nature. So now you can break that too. That can hinder you too. It can go the opposite way.
Mess up for everybody else. Like that. Yeah. They say that back, like, hey, don't mess up my connect.
Yeah, don't mess.
You know what I'm saying? Don't,
I used to tell people, I don't put my name on everything.
You can't. You can't.
Right.
Like, I love you and all, but nah, you about to make me look crazy.
Right.
Like, I've had to tell a couple people, like, hey, look, to be honest, your portfolio sucks. So I can't sign off on that. But if you tweak it and do these things, then yeah, I got you. But you ain't about to use me as a referral here. So matter of fact, anybody that's ever, some people like they have like where they feel lower about themselves than they should. Anybody that I've ever referred, I felt strongly about referring them because some people they're like, you just refer me because you like me or whatever. I'm like, no.
Nope.
There's plenty of people that I might like more than you, actually, that I didn't refer because, they gonna make me look bad. Like, I love them, but, you know, like...
I like it, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna perform the way that they need, show up. Right.
Like, I know me and you aren't as cool, so you were trying to figure it out, but like, it's not because how much I like you, it's because of how much I know you're going to do a good job here.
Yeah.
And I do like you enough that I will refer you as well. But, you know, it is what it is. So if you've ever gotten a referral from me, I really did believe in your skills.
Right.
So, you know, you heard that directly from me. I can refer nobody I can't co-sign. But yeah, that's great. So another controversial topic.
Oh gosh.
Controversial topic. Right? You know, we've all done it. There's somebody else in the room, not gonna say who it is, who's also done it too. You know, and that is, you know, with the emergence of being, especially during COVID, like being able to work remotely, et cetera, you know, you have the opportunity sometimes to be able to work more than one role at the same time, right? And there's ways to do that, ways not to do that. Right. Won't get into the ethical things or et cetera, because at the end of the day, you know, if you're not allowed to do it, then don't do it. You know, you know, your company, if your company has a rule that says, don't do this, like, you know, don't do it. And if you know you're breaking the rules, then definitely don't get caught. You know, actually, let me not say it that way. I said it. It's there. It's on the video now. But you know, so that's one of the beauties of working in tech and also working in agile environments and Scrum, et cetera, where you can actually do that if you have the, you know, one, the right job, one, the right skill set, and, you know, also the right, you're organized enough, et cetera. So just so, because you at one point were making, you know, annualized salary of like $400K, right? And there's always people like underneath the videos or whatever, whenever you say like, you don't be making that. That's not how much QA make. That's crazy. And it's like, well, yeah, because I worked it here, and here. Right. So, but not, but that amount of job stack is actually is actually kind of difficult. So how are you able to pull that off? And, you know, what did you learn during that time? Cause I personally have an opinion that when you do job stack, it amplifies your skill set a lot. Cause you gotta like lock in at a different level than you'd have to if you just work one of them at a time. Because obviously, if you could do 5 of them at a time, that means that, you know, you're working harder than you would if you were doing one. So just curious. That was a long question, but I'm just, you know.
Woo, well, if you don't believe I did it, I would definitely give him a picture to post right here, because I literally just posted it on my IG. You can find it on my IG of my setup almost 3 years ago. And it's on my feed right now.
I'm gonna grab it from there.
Literally, and I have like 4 computers and laptops. You'll see it, and I just posted it like 2 weeks ago. I did job stack, so I will never tell you no. I did not work one QA role, make $400,000. I had 4 roles at a time. Now I didn't keep the 4th role very long, but I did have 3 roles at a time, and then also my husband was in QA. So that also made us keep also that $400K household, but alone, definitely I was hitting 300 and something, almost 400 by myself. And I did job stack, had 3 roles at one time. And honestly, it happened by accident. It wasn't something I was really just trying to do. So I will say disclosure, I will never tell you to do what I did. But your sister, you know, your girl was going from 40K a year. And when you start seeing that amount of money,
you gotta go get it. You I gotta get it while the getting's good.
Get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I just knocked the thing down.
That's all.
I done knocked it down. Okay, so that's real life. It's okay. It's okay. We done knocked it down for $400K, but. So, honestly, when you are doing that though, and if you decide to stack, I will be honest, definitely if you have like freelance positions and they're not competing domains, right? First and foremost, contracts. Did you sign anything with a company that says you can't, you know, non-compete, you can't be in the same domain, things of that nature. So let's just say you're freelancing, you know, and they're 2 different companies and they don't have any of that language, then you should be fine, right? Most direct hire companies, probably not, right? Once you direct hire, that pretty much cuts it out a lot of times, right? But I'm going to say, look at whatever you sign, contract with the company. What I did, it actually happened by accident, and I wasn't giving it up. And to what you said, I absolutely. Once you start building, having multiple roles, I'm utilizing different skill sets because now I'm doing more leadership over here. I'm doing more API testing over here, right? I'm doing more cross collaboration over here. And so like all of it, because of that, I built my skills very, very fast.
Exactly.
But it's not to say I didn't have hard days because I had to stay on later. I had to get up earlier because I had to be going back to Agile. I had to be a part of my daily stand-ups. So I had to be able to be up in the morning and know what I need to work on. If I have any blocks, if I have any questions, I had to present well. So it challenged me very, very fast. And if you think if I'm coming from customer service and technical support, I had to be a totally different person. So it has its pros and its cons. Now, the pros is also the money. Check coming in. Yeah, I'm gonna keep getting up early and going to bed late. You know, I'm gonna keep doing that. The cons is taxes. You know, the cons.
The taxes get you
right
because they all think they're the only job.
Right.
And they tax you all wrong.
Right. So the cons is the taxes. The cons are if you have someone that sporadically wants to have a meeting unexpectedly that wasn't on your calendar, and you got one with another company. The cons are anxiety of just the pressure of it all. You know, so and then just I'm gonna say morally, just we just out here lying. You know, you ain't supposed to be doing it. You know, like consciously it messes with you. You know, now again, when I was getting those checks, I wasn't worried about it. You know, but I will say it did build me to gather skills very, very quickly. And I was able to really speak in scenarios and day in the life and gain skills so fast because what one job needed, another one maybe didn't or vice versa. So I was always learning very quickly and I had to show up for it. I wanted that check, so I was going to do what I have to do. So I'm going to say that, if you want to, legally make sure you know what you sign and what you're in for, what you're not supposed to be doing. I will be always very honest and open to say that how I got there was because I job stacked. And yes, I did 3 at a time. 4 at a time was my push. And I am going to give Arthur a picture to post for you guys to actually see that real life setup in 2021.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wonder if it's similar to mine because of course I did that before. We talked about that, but also. And, and a lot of it was because I was, freelancing and contracting a lot, right? So nobody could tell me what I could and couldn't do.
Absolutely.
Right. And so for a lot of years, I was contracting. Nobody was like my actual employer. And then when I did get like the first employer thing that I had for a long time, it was like at this company. I'm not saying the name of the company. The company's name was Blavity. Right. Yeah. And I love Blavity. I love them so much. You know what? To this day, I probably shouldn't say this, but to this day, that was my favorite job I've ever had in my entire life. If they ever wanted me to come back, they were like, Arthur, I would like you to come back. I'd be like, bet. Like, I don't know anything that they're doing that they need me for or whatever, but if they ever did, I would never say no. But I ended up working there. And they, were just like, hey, like they didn't care what I did as long as I got what I was supposed to get done there. And I worked in the office too. So I wasn't even remote when I was working there. Like I actually went to the office. I went to the office, did what I needed to do during that time I was there. And I still had my contracts. But I mean, I could do that work whenever because it was, contracting work and software engineering is very much like, here's the thing, finish it by this day. It's like, all right,
project
cool.
management, like just get it done.
Exactly, just finish it.
Right.
So, and then my job at Blavity didn't start, which made it work really well. Didn't start till 10 a.m. So I literally would drive into the Blavity office and wait downstairs in the parking lot. And I had a couple meetings from like 9 to like 9:45 or whatever that were like just little stand-up meetings. And then like getting the thing, go upstairs. Then I was just locked in on Blavity until it was time to go. And then I had another job after that was like, I was teaching. And so then I had to teach at night. So then I would do that, boom, then go teach at night. And then I had my phone open that like anytime, like if there was something that broke in the middle of the night or whatever, like that was the only caveat with Blavity. Like if something didn't work, like we need to get it up because we need to have everything up as much as we could. So like they called me, I'm like, I could fix that. So I'm like, and I was teaching, so it would always be like, I had to give the students a break. So like, I would just be like, oh, Blavity called me. Well, I guess, let me finish this thought. Hey guys, take a 15-minute break. Figure out, hey, what's going on? What did you need? Because I'm teaching right now. Like, yeah, I know you're teaching right now, but X, Y, Z happened, blah, 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 blah. And I had enough skills that like, I normally could fix every problem in like 5 minutes.
Right.
So then I do that. And it went smooth. That was the smoothest job stacking ever had ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it just worked. So
yeah, QA is a little. I mean, for me, it's different.
No, it's definitely different. It's definitely different.
All the different calls, the Agile Scrum meetings. You gotta look at requirements. You gotta ask questions.
That's why I don't know how you did it. I was like, whoa, that would be a lot. Because see, here's the thing. I didn't have to worry about that because I just turned over the code and like, here, now y'all go test it. And then like, and I get a thing back that says like, this probably sounds bad. I'm probably an engineer you'd probably be mad at. Like, so did you test this before you gave it to me, Arthur? See, I did. I did. But I wasn't thinking about it as detailed as you have. I didn't have the test cases. Like, can we just give you the test case? You usually look at it first before it's like, sure, give it to me. Like that happened to me a couple times. Like I'm better now. But like 2017, 2018, yeah, it was horrible. I was just be like, worked on my computer.
Right.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go. Hopefully it passes.
Right.
Hopefully everything passes.
Right. Yeah, the QA definitely is gonna have you work. And then every company's gonna be different. You can have that team that's, not, I mean, I would say my experience, most, QA roles isn't really micromanaging. It's still like project-based, kind of get it done, collaborate, speak up when you need support. But you're still in collaboration, close collaboration with making sure this project and this iteration of the project, gets out to the users. So, you definitely have to have close collaboration, but it is kind of like your individual work, but you still collaborating with your team. So there's a lot of interaction there. But it also depends on, where the sprint is with the company. So it could still be bringing out the requirements, or we could be retesting, or we doing, defects, or, you could be writing test cases that face. So, a lot of times, one company might have been still building out stuff and another team might have been actually testing. So I know what to expect on each end. So I know how to show up to it. Mm-hmm. But that's where getting up early and kind of seeing, what is ahead of me. I'm already, I'm not getting up in the morning like, okay, let me figure it out. It's like I'm up 30 minutes to 15 minutes before the actual team. So I've already looked at each board. I know what, how I need to show up. Here's what I need to speak to and let them know that I'm here, I'm present, and I'm with you guys on the project. So I think it's about you being, proactive, not reactive, like you're behind, if you're going to try that.
And so you've worked as a Scrum Master before, right? Too, right?
Essentially a junior Scrum Master, yeah, because I took the place of our Scrum Master that left. But yes, and that's facilitating all of the Agile Scrum meetings. Yes. Nice.
All right, this is a stupid question. What's your favorite Scrum ceremony? And what's your least favorite Scrum ceremony?
My least, yeah,
I know what mine are.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, I've done them all. I mean, okay, I'll say I don't think I always like sprint review meetings just because I hate when I'm always the one that have to be picked to do the demo. If I have to. So I don't think I always want to do the demo. I mean, I don't know, because retros can kind of be annoying, but they're needed, but annoying, to hear everybody's, what happened, what needs to work, what we need to rework and all that. I like daily stand-ups. I personally actually like daily stand-ups personally. And I would say I probably like daily stand-ups just because the majority of my daily stand-ups, we actually didn't always do on a call. We just put it in a chat. So
you just put it in Slack, right?
Right.
Exactly. Those are the ones
I like. Boop. Yeah. Like, yep. But when we gotta
no blockers.
Right. No block. Yeah. But when we gotta sit in and I gotta hear everybody, I was like, oh gosh, we gotta sit, But I mean, it's good because when you do your daily stand-up, it's kind of like, for me, the daily stand-up is giving me the chance to speak, so I know I've been heard and they know what to expect from me. So it's almost like I give mine to the point where it's like, all right, here's where I'm at. I don't need no help, where I need help, or here's what I'm going to do. Leave me alone. That's how I feel. So I kind of feel like I'm setting it, like I get to set the tone. No, I'm here, I'm good. So I think I like daily stand-ups, and I think least retros.
Least retros.
Yeah.
See, daily stand-ups, right? Yeah, it's like a catch-22, right? And because like you need to have them, right? To a certain extent, because especially in a remote environment, you need to keep something that keeps people connected and accountable, right?
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, it's like a lot of times repetitive and
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be. So it's a little bit annoying to hear. And I may not, unless you're the person in charge, you may not even be paying attention because like, when's it my turn? All right. And then keep it moving.
Yeah.
There is a company that I work with, and they changed up how they did daily stand-ups, and I actually have like assimilated this now into like even like companies I'm consulting with or whatever to tell them to change it up this way. But hey, they didn't trademark it, so I could do that.
Right.
At the end of the day, but it was really good.
Right.
And they do this thing called Daily Courage, right?
Okay.
And when I got there, I was like, yo, this is kind of, I don't know if this company's going to work out for me, but I'm definitely stealing this.
Right.
Right. And it didn't work out. I don't work there. But at the end of the day, I was like, I'm definitely stealing this because this is good the way they got this structured. They had some really good ideas. And essentially, the way Daily Courage works is instead of just having your regular 3 questions, like, what'd you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Any blockers? It was like, what is the most impactful thing that you're going to take care of today? And no matter what, rain, sleet, snow, or shine is going to get knocked out. That's your courageous task.
Okay.
And you list that at the top, like I'm going to do this. You can hold my feet to the fire that I'm knocking this out no matter what. And then here's other things I'm going to work on. And then whether I have any blockers or, and also did I finish my crap from yesterday? Right. And that's what you write. Right. So you put that in the chat. Right. And then also, then you have to say it in front of everybody too, because you do both. You put it in the chat and then they have a meeting about it.
Out loud. And then
admit it out loud to everybody. Right. Both things. And so they would do that every single day. And so it's like, and they, because this is, the important thing is that they also make sure you do it the next day. So it's like this way of keeping track. So what I've been doing with this other company that like I'm, consulting for now is I got them to implement that, and this like improved their productivity by like, a good amount. I don't want to say the exact percentage or whatever, but like it's like doubling basically like their output because now everybody is saying I have to do this and it has to be tied to their OKRs, right? So they got to tie it to that. So I don't know, it's just like a thing, right? That's just a free giveaway for people. You should go ahead and do that.
Courage. Yeah. I mean, I do like sprint planning, believe it or not. And the reason why is because I've learned to like them because especially when I haven't always been a part of every single one for every company, but I like hearing what the developers need. So I would probably switch that just because I like actually hearing the technical aspect of here's what it's going to take to actually bring this feature functionality to life, and hearing, QA, like, cause QA, like we can also, depending on the company, if we're a part of them, say, what, it's going to take for us to test it, thinking through that. But I actually like the process of the technical aspect of saying, hearing what the developers actually need to build it. So I actually kind of like sprint planning meeting. I'm not going to say I just really want to be a part of them all the time, but I like the aspect of understanding what it's actually taking to build it.
I got you to change your mind.
Right. Right. I was thinking about it.
You know what my favorite one though is though? Because I just said I don't like daily stand-ups, right?
Yeah.
But grooming, right? Even though that's not technically going to say
getting rid of stuff that we don't like.
Exactly.
Getting rid of stuff, refining stuff. Yes.
That's the best part. Or you ever play scrum poker too? Like
no,
do that?
I ain't think.
You don't like scrum poker? Because like I like doing that because it's like, okay, boom. I think it's going to take me 3 days to do it. You think it's going to take 2 days. You think it's going to take 1 day. And it's like, okay, none of us know what we think.
Right.
All right. Now it's like, okay, show the cards.
Right.
3 days.
3 days.
How's it 3 days? And then now we can argue about it. Like it's 3 days because this, and this.
Right.
I always win that too because I'm always ready to tell you why it should take less or more time.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, that's not really a thing either, but it's a thing that we end up doing. But yeah, so a couple more things just want to ask before I let you go. While I got you here, right? So where do you see the QA field and tech in general going in the next 5 years? Because, the main thing we talk about on the podcast is, 2032 thesis, the way that things are going to change and all these different things. And we were just joking around a moment ago, like before we started filming about like, yeah, we're going to have these people sitting at the table and they're going to be, androids. They're going to have real human skin and all stuff like that. Like, but where do you see things going in the next 5 years and then even potentially next 10 years in QA and tech in general?
Definitely the more AI machine learning. I think, so we as QAs definitely need to have that basic, even knowledge, foundational understanding. I see like, AI-based testing more and, what is it? AI-based model testing. I'm trying to say it right, but I definitely see that more. More testing with security, going back again, I think because of the advancement of AI and automation, more security testing with the different threats and also, any risk because of AI and us overseeing that and looking over that. So like when people, look at, is AI going to replace just humans? Like, I don't believe it's just going to replace. I think it's going to transform and change or evolve how we're actually going to test or oversee testing.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to be very important for us to have those other skill sets to help test, validate, and help with the enrichment or the evolution of testing and validating that things are doing what it's supposed to do. So I think that's where we're going to actually live and breathe. So, that's where I see it.
Nice. And another thing, what are your long-term goals now with, with the road to QA and just in your career in general? Like, where do you see that going? Like, is there another pivot that we're gonna get to see, or what's happening?
That's a great question. I don't know if I want to say too much. I have goals, but I think with me now having my own skill set in my career, but then also growing a business. I think sometimes, how we deal with imposter syndrome. And I think for me, I'm dealing with the fact that I have grown a company that can do more. And it's like, okay, do I also grow this business and still just keep my job? Right? And keep, and keep my skills and keep up leveling? Or do I commit to being a visionary to grow this? But how do I still do that? If I've been a teacher all this long in Road to QA, how do I do that if now I'm at a point where, okay, I need to also acquire new skills and new knowledge, right? Because I don't want to come off a fraud. I don't want to come off teaching something that I just really haven't, because up until this point, what I taught is what I've done. But I think there's a point where, again, technology, testing, all of that is evolving. And there are people that have more knowledge than me, more experience than me. And do I want to take that time? I should definitely know what's going on. But now what hat do I want to sit in? So for me, I think, honestly, I'm constantly learning, evolving in my skills with, automation and AI, also for my own knowledge and my own skill set, because I never depended upon my company. But the truth is now I am growing a company. I do have a company. So I have to also do that for myself and then also as my company. And then if I don't have something, bringing it into Road to QA. So the goal for Road to QA is to growing it into different tracks. That's my dream. It wasn't my dream before because Road to QA wasn't even a thought. Actually, again, like I said, it was kind of like a great accident that happened. And so now we look at different tracks. Can we have different tracks for Scrum, BA, for product owner, for automation? And do we want to add other tracks to that? So how can we still support the road to different roles within the software development process? Because the growing, software is still, right now, all of our, these companies nowadays are going to, digital, having digital footprints, applications. So we know software is going to be out there. So now what type of skills do we need to support that process of getting these softwares out into the hands of the users? What skills do we need? And so that will be the goal for Road to QA. That is the goal for Road to QA. not going to say it's always an easy, thought for me, being the head of the company, but because I have to bring in people and keep up with what's, happening in the industry. But yes, that would be the goal for ODQA.
Nice. Cool. And the last thing, and this is like a bigger thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be the last thing. If something else comes up, then we'll keep going.
I'm here.
But if you were now somebody, like let's say we're talking to your target customer to come in and join Road to QA, just in general, like what advice would you give them to be successful in Road to QA?
Dig deep into who you've been already. I think a lot of times we discount who we've been. So try to pull that out. I don't care if you've been a waitress. I don't care if you worked at a gas station. I don't care if you worked at Wendy's. Apparently I used to eat Wendy's too much because I always use that as an example. But you've used some sort of technology at those jobs. So how can you take who you've been as a SME? You had to become a subject matter expert in that role. You discounted it. You probably discounted it because you was probably making $10 an hour, $15 an hour. You're looking at how much you was making, but you're not looking at the value actually brung to being a SME on that software, that platform, that process for that company to serve that customer, to bring that company money. So how can you take who you've been and now look at that domain knowledge and add new skills on top to position for something new? Don't discount who you've been. So I'm going to first say dig deep in who you've been. And maybe you haven't. Maybe you're a college student, you're new. Okay, so how can you go acquire new knowledge and start adding on that? But if you're starting your journey, I'm going to say, who have you been? And now how can we pivot to say, how did you utilize that technology? And from a customer perspective, of you serving them, but now from a QA perspective, what would it mean to test that software? So instead of actually checking out the person at Wendy's, what does it mean for you to actually test it? And now you go get that skill of testing. How do you speak to that? So I think a lot of times we don't dig into who we are. We don't see the actual knowledge or the domains or the experience that we've been a part of. And most importantly, is you articulating not just the skill, but the scenarios in which how you would actually utilize the skill. A lot of us, we can say, oh, I've done this, I've used this automation tool, but we can't speak in a scenario of us actually applying that skill or how we'd approach something, or even mastering if you haven't utilized something, but maybe you went and you've gotten basic knowledge on something. How can I say, okay, well, in my experience, I utilize this tool, here's how. Versus, well, in my experience, that wasn't a part of my actual responsibility, but here's how I would implement, utilize, or approach something with this tool. And I don't think we know how to stand with that in confidence. A lot of my students, they've landed roles, even if they haven't exactly done something proficiently or at a high level, they've been able to get the job over people with other years of experience because they simply can even articulate how they would approach something with confidence. They know how to move. They know how to show up. They know how to speak to. They know how to, show their leadership skills or how they would actually apply that tool in a certain situation.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good spot to drop the mic. So with that said, thank you again for coming out. We appreciate you. Hopefully we could get you to come back. And there's plenty of other stuff we could chat about as well. But yeah, thanks again, and make sure you check out Road to QA. All of the social media handles for Jennifer are going to be in the description. So make sure you check those out. Make sure you tell her where you came from if you, join Road to QA, so that it inspires her to come back again. All that good stuff.
We give you a special link. So.
All those. So yeah, but have a good day, and thank you again for coming out.
Thank you.
Man, they call me Mr. CTO. I'm the one that you should call when you're learning code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Yeah, man, they call me Mr. CTO. I'm the one that you should call when you're learning code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Got in this game from a humble beginning, but now we winning. Came up.